Hey, Aman, it's just a day counter. At some point I started incrementing this counter every day in the beginning of the year. It's not like total days I've streamed, just this year basically. Yeah, what are you making? And what do you use? Like engine and whatever? Oh, nice. I also used Unity for many years. Now I kinda hate it. Why? Oh my god, I don't want to get into a rant. But one of the reasons is C#. I like Rust way more for a bunch of reasons. The other reason is that it's closed source and the docs kinda sucked always. Also, it's very... like, there are a lot of things that you basically have to take as a bundle, but like you're probably not gonna use. It's basically like very bloated, I guess, because like throughout the years Unity was supposed to like be a tool to basically solve any problem, and yeah, not all of their solutions are great, and you can't even look at the source code, and a lot of the times like something was supposed to be working but then it didn't, and then I've spent like days figuring out, but it was basically just specifically engine issue. And right now I use Bevy engine, and it's very cool because obviously it's open source as everything in Rust ecosystem, but also it's very modular, and the performance is obviously better, but I can basically use any part of the engine I want. I can even do my own, like I can use my own thing for opening windows even. So you basically can replace any part of the engine, and it was pretty cool because like I use Bevy very lightly. I kind of use their ECS a little bit, but for UI I use completely different library called IGUI, which is really great. And yeah, Bevy is basically free and will always be free. And yeah, people have done a lot of cool things, a lot of integrations of other libraries and stuff. Like, I don't know, if it's a product that is made by a corporation, and specifically after Unity became public company, like for me it's like became dead engine. And what happened, like what was it, a year ago or was it 2 years? I think it was last summer, right, when they like did the thing with like pricing, and everyone was like, what the fuck. That's like not the end of it. So Unity, like the golden era of Unity passed a long time ago. And I really feel like Bevy will like take the role of the ultimate engine that is like can be fit for everything. Because like for games, performance is the most important thing, right? And you can't really beat Bevy in that department, because like Unity uses C#, Unreal is like the whole other bunch of problems it has. But yeah, I feel like things that are made by community are more like for people, and you really feel that the kind of passion people put into making stuff for Bevy, be it the engine or like any public assets, all of which are free. So I don't know, I've been really enjoying my time after switching to Rust and eventually to Bevy engine. Like I've never had, my experience of making games have never been so pleasurable. And I'm making games for like, I don't know, 13, 14 years already. Oh yeah, привет. Да, у меня пирсинг в носу. Piercing in the nose. Yeah, I mean, it's not like Unity is still very great if you're just starting out. Like, I don't regret my time spent using it. I mean, I even kind of released 2 games with Unity. Like, there's just the fact that so many people use it and there's so much stuff you can learn. Like, it's basically great to kind of learn why you should hate it. I don't know, I feel like as a game developer you really should be ready to like jump ship on any kind of tool you're using, just because the world changes so much. So like, you'll probably find your reason to not like it, or maybe you won't. But it's still pretty good to start with. Yo, what up, Inferno? It must be pretty late in the USA. Usually I get some viewers in my morning, which is like 5 hours ago from US. Uh, yeah. It wasn't really my decision to become solo. I mean, I started this game with kind of a small team of my friends, but like, I don't know, I feel like since I can do everything myself, it kind of became more, it made more sense to just do everything solo. And I feel like I'm actually faster this way, believe it or not, even though I'm making this game for more than 3 years already. But I mean, I've made it 5 times, so. Oh yeah, and what are you making? Are you making a game? Are you working somewhere, or is this a Linux or Windows thing? That's a Mac, my dude. 2D RPG in Godot. Wow, that sounds pretty complicated. So like it's your first game and you started with an RPG. How complex is it? I mean, commitment. Yeah, I just have to make this game, dude. There's like no other way. I don't really have a choice. It's like, I don't know. If I'm not making this game, I will probably be super depressed and maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say kill myself, but like I can't imagine doing anything else basically. What's the point? I mean, the main problem with like starting with a complex project is that you really have no idea how the scope of projects like this work if you don't have experience. That's literally impossible for you to have any clue. And people usually get discouraged when they realize that what they thought it would take, it's more like 10 times that, and maybe even more. And then you realize how much learning you have to do, and you may initially thought that this project might take a year, then you think that it will maybe take 5 years, and you start to doubt whether you finish it at all. And so people just usually get super depressed and just drop everything, and that's why the classical advice for people starting to make games is to make something small from start to finish, just so you know all the steps there are. And I mean, you can still try to like there are cases where people did their first game like very big and they did it and they were successful. It's just that it will be way harder. But if you enjoy the process, like it's okay. And if at some point you feel like you want to start something else, that's also okay. Usually when you start, you just want to start and drop a bunch of projects until you feel like you want to finish something. It's just way harder if you're doing the game that's like when it's like a game of your dreams to some extent. Dropping it would feel like failure. And for a lot of people it's really hard to recover from that. Like you started to make a game, you like spent a year on it, maybe 2, and then you realize that you can't, you burned out, and it's really hard to start something else just because you already suffered a huge failure, like quote unquote. So yeah, just like be careful and not don't get burned out, and it's okay to like put it aside for a time and do something smaller just to get experience. Like you get way more experience doing like 5 smaller games than spending all of this time on a single game. That's just the truth. So like before I released my first game back in 2017, I did a bunch of maybe like 5 or 6 smaller games, some of which were pretty big, but like I tried the different genres and stuff, and that just gave me a lot of, I don't know, like oversight from of like what I can do, like experience implementing some systems and whatever. Oh yeah, you can still do things on your own, but yeah. Yeah, graphics don't really a concern. It's more about the architecture of the project. Just because, like, what people don't realize is that when you're making a game, the way you imagine it in your head and the way it's gonna evolve, like, it changes a lot, especially if you don't have experience. So, like, you might start making one game, then you realize that it should be a completely other game, and then, like, this happens a couple of times, and you basically have to redo a lot of code that you have already done. It either becomes really messy or you have to refactor it completely many times. So yeah, that's why it takes a lot, like not because the scope is big, but because it's like the idea constantly evolves when you work on it, when you iterate and stuff, when you like try and see what is fun and what is not. Yeah, that's perfect. Like if you're motivated, then it's all fine. Just don't expect this motivation to last, you know. Like the biggest thing is learn to like keep having fun with what you're doing, even when it's hard, even when it seems like it will not work out, like or whatever. If you keep your motivation to some extent, if you're being careful not to burn out, then you'll be totally fine. Oh yeah, then yeah, you're good then. Yeah, that's a great learning experience then for you too. Vampire Survivors isn't really RPG. What even is this? Like, um, basically, the hard part about any game that is like focused on content in this way, like basically, usually you have some sort of a core loop, which is the thing that player will do for the most part, and what is hard about those kind of games is that you first of all have the content. Like you can limit yourself to like one location or whatever. It doesn't really matter because when you start to make this game, when you try and experiment, you just realize that you have a lot of ideas, and to implement and test them, you basically it just takes a while, and it's really easy to get carried away with your scope, because at any point, at like 95% of the time, your game will not feel as fun and you'll constantly have ideas of what to change. So if you're making a game that is like a simple like platformer or some hyper casual game, those are usually focused on one mechanic, and you can get this mechanic to work in like a couple of weeks, when it's like, I don't know, some like fucking blocks moving or whatever. But in RPG you usually have to have a lot of elements that have to work together, and to implement each element takes a while, and you will always be like, you'll basically always be able to tell yourself that your game isn't fun just because some elements are missing, and what elements are missing and what elements will be there will constantly change. And so it like you always be in a state of like, I'm done, I have done this, now I need to do this and this, and maybe my game will be fun. And then even when you do that, you try your game and you think, okay, maybe it's missing this part now. And it's just a constant cycle of experimenting, and as you get more experience, you also realize how some of the elements should be done, so maybe you'll redo some other stuff, and you change the concept of the game a lot. And so like, it's a constant process of your project evolving, but if you don't have experience coding such projects, you'll also constantly be having to like refactor it And so that's why it's hard. It's because your game isn't focused on one mechanic, one like core loop. It's focused on many things, and you can't really be sure what it has to have to be fun. So yeah. You can, but it's still like, it's not like you just take a mechanic, you implement it, and then it's fun. If you want to copy a game 100%, then yeah, maybe. But you probably will not do that. You probably will have your own ideas, and to arrive to this like grinding mechanic is also very hard. It's not like things like Diablo were done like, oh, we'll just make the player fucking grind mobs and it'll be fun. They tried a bunch of other things, and they arrived to it when they've probably like did a lot of other mechanics and then just trimmed the fat, you know. That's also a very important part. So a lot of mechanics you'll just implement and then just basically delete. A good game is a game that doesn't have features that don't serve a purpose. So like it's always sounds easy when you imagine it in your head, just because you go off from the experience of other games that you have played. But once you start making your own games, it becomes exponentially more complex. Just when you start, I mean, you'll realize it yourself. And I wonder like how it will be for you. But yeah, like even if you have experience, like with this game, when I was just starting out 3 years ago, I thought that we could make a prototype in a week. Then it took like 4 months just for the prototype. And it's like constantly, I mean, it was already when I had a lot of experience being a software developer and like estimating my work. I basically did that professionally, and still like I misjudge it constantly, and I feel like some things are done when they're actually not even close to being done. Do you do arts? I mean, I do visuals for my game, but they're more like procedural. I don't know. I never did like free assets. I like to do everything myself, even though I can't really draw. I would also advise. I mean, I don't know what exactly is fun for you about making games, but if you try to find your own style of making visuals, you can do something pretty cool. Like people with no artistic background can actually do some pretty cool visual stuff. Even if it looks like shit in the beginning, even if it looks like shit always, usually it still gets like some character. So I wouldn't like bother with that initially. Just do whatever, do some programmer art, and then you'll see. Maybe you'll actually like it. Oh yeah, totally. I'll check it out on stream. Few hours a week, yeah, that might take a while. Physics? Well, I mean, what kind of RPG are you making? If you have physics, doesn't sound that so simple. Any assets? Basic collision, oh yeah. Classic. But I mean, Unity has pretty good solutions for that. But it's kind of fun to make your own. Yeah, like at some point you realize that there are many problems in games that like you stumble upon over and over with any project, and you basically learn to solve them once, and then it like carries over. That's why it's good to try making different games. Do you have like is it a 2D or I forgot? I mean, I think you said 2D RPG. But is it like a platformer or? Yeah, for jumping, usually you realize that it's like hard to know whether the player is on the ground or not. So usually a good solution for that in Unity is like to make a ray cast from the feet for like 1 millimeter, and if it hits the ground, then you're like on the ground. Jumping, if it's top down, then why the fuck do you even need jumping? Mahmoud, yeah. I mean, I would rather be addicted to like finishing things, not remaking them over and over when I see like a smallest issue. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. So you see, that's why it takes so long. At some point you just think, oh, let me just try to see if I can do this, to see what's up. And then you spend 2 months and you realize that even though you've done it, like you don't need this. But yeah, it's still a cool experience. I mean, yeah, obviously. I was really scared when I saw Rust for the first time. But it's actually like everything makes sense once you realize it. Once you learn all the whatevers. I almost did. I almost did when I was moving away from Unity. It's pretty good from what I learned, but I didn't really try making anything with it. Alright, man, have a good day. Assembly. No, not really. It's Rust. How do you determine exactly what to do? Select everything in Python, yet I still find myself needing to look up most everything because I'm not entirely sure how to proceed. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. It's, one word experience. Like, it's really fine that when you start that you like have to Google everything or like have some sort of a cheat sheet open next to you. Like, it's totally okay. It's just that you shouldn't like rely on it completely. Maybe when you're thinking about how to like write a specific part of the code, like implement some algorithm, try to do it yourself. Try to like type stuff as you remember, see what like the compiler says and whatever. And then if you really like can't, just go open Google or whatever and just look up what do you need to do. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to just like remember what exactly you need, how everything is called. It's just basically like learning language. Just you memorize it with practice more and more, and then it just becomes second nature. Grok 3, is this the AI thing? Yeah, if you're doing vibe coding, then like, I don't know, man. I feel like it would be really hard to transition to like do it manually. Any tips? I mean, maybe lead code. Oh yeah, it's mask AI, right? But yeah, like for logic, I feel like solving some problems is pretty good, and I feel like lead code is really good for that. Just to give you like snippets of stuff that you have to figure out. It's like training a muscle also. How did you overcome that? Whenever I try to solve a problem, my hands and mind both are just completely blank. I mean, maybe just start with something simpler. But I overcame that a long time ago when I was in the university learning to like do competitive programming. And I don't know, I mean, maybe I have more of a knack for it. But it's all just practice. Like, just start with things as simple as possible and you'll get there. I mean, yeah, I've been doing that for like 14 years, so you know, got some experience for sure. How much time do you think it will take to learn JavaScript at most with a good grip, of course? Are you self-taught programmer or did you took a course or something? Um, I'm not like completely self-taught. I learned a lot at the university back a long time ago. But like most of the things I learned myself. But yeah, I did get a good start there. How much time will take to learn JavaScript? Like, it's really a question of your abilities and what do you mean by learn? Like, I don't know. It's probably possible to like be able to develop a simple app in like a couple of months. It's just it's all about your ability to learn actually. Because like yeah, there are just a bunch of basic concepts that you have to internalize when you learn to code, and they're mostly the same across main languages. It's just like basically like developing neural pathways for understanding algorithms and planning them in your head and stuff. You usually can't get much practice in that regard in like regular life, but once you do, your brain kind of adapts and it becomes a lot easier. And so it's more of a question of your approach and motivation more than like how hard it actually is, because many people can't learn to code just because they get discouraged and they stop and they feel like if it's hard now, it will be hard forever. And if you just push through it and if you somehow manage to have fun doing so, then it can take very little amount of time. It does depend on talent, but anyone can learn to code at any level for the most part. But yeah. You really shouldn't like try to how do I say this? Try to get an estimate or on like how much it will take, because it's a lot like result-oriented thinking, and you can't really keep motivation if you're thinking about how much longer will it take. All you should think about is how can I have fun doing it for a very long time, because if you get into that state, it doesn't really become like It's not a question of how much it will take, because you will definitely get there if you just take steps and you don't stop. But by definition, you will get there. And the only question you can ask yourself to stop is like whether I'm capable of it. And if you just believe that you are, then you will get there, because that's all really that matters. People say that web dev has ended. I mean, I don't think AI will replace live developers anytime soon. I'm pretty sure of that. It's like whatever, I mean, you shouldn't really listen to that, in the sense that you should really think about doing what is interesting for you, and not try to like predict the future, because you'll never be able to. It's just you'll just keep finding ways to discourage yourself. If you start to learn to code now, like if you really get into it, it doesn't mean that if like AI takes over, then you'll like lose everything and you'll have spent your time, you've wasted your time. Like, no, you'll get experience, you'll learn stuff, and you'll figure out more what you actually want to do. And those skills are not going anywhere. You'll just like apply them somewhere else. So like, it's definitely better than doing nothing or doing something that you don't enjoy. So like, whatever. But yeah, like, if you want my like professional opinion, then I don't think it will be soon that developers, like human developers, will be completely replaced, just because of the way AI works. It's not fit to do really precise tasks. It basically gives you an approximate solution. And in programming, especially if we're talking something that has to work well, you can't really do approximate solutions. It's like writing a book, like getting words approximately to match to words that should be there. If you mess up a really small detail, like everything can be fucked. And in coding, that's basically how bugs are created. So For simple tasks, yeah, AI can do pretty good. But if we're talking about completely building some sort of application or system, we're not nearly there. The solution that we have currently is not it. It can be an assistant, yes. It can be a very good assistant, but you still need humans to operate it. It's basically a tool. So no replacements is coming anytime soon. I'm sure of that. Yeah, like there are a lot of tasks that you can save a lot of time doing it. I'm personally not. Maybe, I don't know. I don't even know if I will do in the future, but some things I don't like to do. So maybe, but still, like I feel like it's really good to like do everything yourself manually, just because it keeps you on your toes. Like you don't lose the ability to like do stuff. I don't know. Web or OS? What? And easier to quick draft ideas and gotcha. Yeah, it's pretty good for that. I also did that too a bit for content. Почему тебе порекомендовал этот канал? What is cloned in Rust? Rust basically has copy and clone, and clone means that you copy is basically faster. So for example, how do I show you an example? Like for example here, for this enum, which is basically it's just like enum, there's just these values. I can derive copy, and copy means it just takes a like packet of memory and just moves it somewhere else, or like copies it. Like basically it's very very fast. You can do it for like primitive values, like here, but you can do it for strings. So for example, I have also this enum which have nested values, and I can't do. I only have clone here just because you can't really copy a string because you can't know its size. There is also a vector. I also cannot use copy for this. But if it's an array of set values, like here, this is a struct for color, and it has only 4 values, which is an array, and they have copy here. So if it's sized, meaning that is it offer for all sized? But yeah, if a structure you can predict its size, it's not a vector or a string or whatever, then you can implement copy usually, and it's basically like very fast. It's like copying like a primitive value or something. And clone is a bit slower, but it's still very, very fast. In Rust, it's like super fast. And cloned means that it's usually for like option, which can or cannot contain a value. And cloned says that if it does have a value, just clone it. Yeah, but you didn't ask my question. What do you mean by Weber OS? Two coroutines. Yeah, I think I said what cloned is. Where was it? Like if I have an option, then I can do... I forgot where it was. Yeah, like here, this function returns a result with a reference. And so I don't want the reference, I want the actual value. So I say, like, if it does have a value, clone it. So what, I went on this rant explaining clone and copy for nothing. Then call it as clone it? What? I think it's a perfect name. Like it means I want this value cloned. If it's there. Be right back. Now, bool cloned is more like is cloned, so it's like a question. But just cloned means that an action was done on it. You can do send the receiver. I'm not sure what that means, but I didn't know you can do something in C++ that you cannot do in Rust. Yeah, I don't know much about C++. Okay, dude. I didn't really ask for your advice. I'm working on a game called Pilot. I'm making Autobattler. If you're interested, you can check out my channel. I have a bunch of videos about the game, but I'm currently reworking some architecture stuff. I can't really showcase it, but it's like simple auto battler. You just like buy units and build a team, and it's online PvP multiplayer. Here you just try to defeat other players' team with your own. It's not like super auto pets. Yeah, what's up? fuck, man? Am I your monkey to entertain you? Like, I'm thinking. Are you not entertained? You can do whatever you want. I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6. Yeah, only one of those is a language, unfortunately. Nah, man. I'm not gonna keep going, unfortunately. I gotta take a break. So yeah, that'll be it for now. But I will be back in a few hours. So thank you guys for watching. So many of you today, holy shit. But yeah, I usually stream every day, usually 3 times a day. So I will be back in about 2 to 3 hours. And tomorrow. So yeah. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.